Just hanging out with Bailey at the moment. Just finished my lecture. I'm gonna have a test at the end of this week as well, so I don't know how I'm gonna manage that, but I've been working, I've been studying. It's been done before. I've worked and studied at the same time before. It can be done. I just need some balance in my life, you know. If I just focus on working, then it's gonna be really boring. If I just focus on studying, then it's also gonna be very boring. If I just focus on partying, not working at all, working remotely, I don't know, just focusing on my artistic endeavors, it's gonna be very boring for me. There's no right or wrong way to live life. Some people, they can just focus their 100% energy towards working, and that's fine. It's not for me. I can't focus on one thing all the time. It's gonna be very freaking boring for me. I can't just focus on, you know, my music career. And sure, I might have enjoyed that when I was in high school, but I realized at the time I was also trying to be a good student, and maybe that's why it worked out for me, you know. I don't know, there's no right or wrong way to live life. When you have an extroverted friend such as Aaron, sometimes it is very hard for you both to get away from a conversation in which not all parties want to be involved in. And what do I mean by this is that extroverts, they like to strike up conversation with essentially anyone that they see, and they want to talk to anyone. And there are multiple times in which Aram has gotten himself into a heated debate or a conversation with the strangers, and I felt really uncomfortable to walk away from that interaction. But yeah, he keeps getting himself into these conversations, and he might disagree with me. He says that, you know, engaging in these conversations is stimulating to him, and, you know, you're one thought richer after you had these conversations. Sometimes I disagree. Sometimes I think maybe you don't have to talk to everybody, but that's just me because I'm an introvert. But anyways, there are a couple of times in which strangers approached Aram, and he reciprocated, and then they got into heated debates about politics and religion, sometimes even sexuality. Those are the topics that I try not to get myself involved in, because no matter what I say, chances are there will be people disagreeing with me, and there's no way, and I mean there's no way I can win them all. There's no way anybody could agree with me 100%. And so that's why I try to stay away from these topics, and I don't think they are productive for me personally. I'm not trying to win over anybody, and I just don't think it's a good use of my time. But that's just me, because I'm an introvert. But anyways, when you sense that your friend or the people who are hanging out with you, they don't want to be in this conversation, it's very hard for extroverts to, if they are not aware of it, to get themselves away from these situations. The other day, Aaron met this guy on the street who was, you know, handing out flyers about the Palestine Israel conflict. I'm not going to get into too much details, but at the end of the conversation, Aaron felt really down because the other guy was disagreeing with him. Me personally, when I see these things, I would walk away. I would try to, you know, almost sort of brush off the guy, maybe sympathize with him, maybe agree with them, just so that I can move on, because I already have an agenda. But Aram, he likes to debate people on these things, and so that's what he did. And at the end, he felt really bad about it. I don't blame him. People disagreeing with you, it's not a nice feeling. The other day as well, he also met this guy at the farmer's market, and he ordered a cherry pie. And the guy came over to our place, and Aram also entered a lengthy conversation with him about politics once again. And the guy was saying, back in my days, 30 years ago, we didn't have this problem of children wanting people to call them by their pronouns. We don't have these issues of the minorities, having a voice, dictating how the majority should act. Aram ended up agreeing with him, and they talked for, I don't know, probably an hour on that topic about how children today seem to always have some sort of issues because of the way they were raised, how the food they ate, the environments that they grew up in, how back in his days, kids were out playing in nature, and so they don't have these diseases, they don't have autism, they don't have mental health issues. They don't demand other people in society to respect their little idiosyncrasies and trying to see who is the most quirky, who has the most, unique condition. That's what they were talking about, and it's more nuanced than that. And I want to touch briefly on this topic about religion and politics as well. I think those things should stay separate, because I thought religion is something personal and something that shouldn't be forced on people. But unfortunately, I know people in my friends group who belong to organizations in which there are people in the church telling them that if you choose to undertake certain medical treatments, and they also critique the government's decision on a certain medical procedure back in 2020, then you're no longer a Christian. If you decided to take this vaccine, then you're not pure-blooded anymore, and that you have switched side to be with the satanists and stuff like that. I don't think they should be even discussing this. It's not an issue that has theological values. I think the church should stay away from this and focus on the main issues, just such as, who is the person of Jesus Christ and who is God. Focusing on the Trinity, stuff like that, and try not to stay away from that, and stay away from topics such as politics and medical decisions. Those are not within your domain. I can't believe there are actually people in the church who get really worked up about what sort of food they can and can't eat, what sort of medical procedures they can and can't have. I don't think you should be discussing that, but that's just me. But anyways, the problem with extroverts, well, with my friend in general, is that he likes to talk to anybody, and he likes to debate people. And sometimes it might seem as though it is productive, and he walks away one thought richer than he was before. But most of the times, I think when you're with people, when you're hanging out with your friends and stuff like that, I don't think it's a good idea to be engaging in these sort of debates with strangers. Sometimes it's probably best if you agree with the stranger you're debating and move on, and try to have an enjoyable time, try to have a light-hearted discussion rather than always trying to debate people and getting into politics. I try to stay away from politics, religion, and war. when talking to people, because I've never had a productive conversation. People tend to always disagree with me, and I always walk away feeling, worse off than when I was before. I save those conversations with the people whom I'm really close with, and can open myself fully to them, and knowing that they won't judge me, or it's not going to affect our relationship in any way. But with strangers, it's such a sensitive topic. Anyways, I'm going to go home now. Bailey, I'm going to feed Bailey and then go to work. Hope you guys are doing well. Stay strong. God bless. I love you all, and I'll speak to you soon.